you can go into the book of Daniel, second chapter, start at the 31st verse, and it talks about Daniel's vision. Well, actually, the way the Bible tells the story, it was the king of Babylon's vision or dream. Here's the great and mighty king of Babylon, has a dream, and it disturbs him to the core of his being. He was agitated. He was upset. Didn't know what to do. He was totally at his wit's end because he had a troubling dream that caused this anxiety within himself. But the thing about it is, he couldn't remember what the dream was. So he called all of the wise men, all of his wise counselors, and said, I had a dream that troubled me, and I need the interpretation of the dream. So they said, well, O king, tell us what the dream is, and we'll give you an interpretation. He said, I can't remember the dream. So not only do you have to give me the interpretation of the dream, you got to tell me what the dream was. So they say, what, O king, there's nobody on the face of the earth that is wise enough to give you the dream that you can't remember yourself and then the interpretation of the dream. That would have to be God himself. And so one of them wise counselors must have been really wise, because he was wise enough to remember that there was a prisoner named Daniel. And they went and got Daniel, told Daniel what the dilemma was, because the king had said, if you can't give me my dream back and you can't give me the interpretation of the dream, I'm going to have all of you killed. So they had motivation. So they told Daniel what was up, and they were going to kill Daniel too. But Daniel had a relationship with the true and living God. So the way the Bible tells it, he got with his brothers. There was also in prison with him. Sounds like they had a dialogue session. I have to go back and read that again and make sure that's what it was. But then out of that dialogue, Daniel fell into a deep sleep. And in the middle of the night, it says that God gave him a night vision. And the night vision was the answer to the king's dream. Then the next day, he was taken before the king, and he said, O king, God has given me your dream and its interpretation. He told the king what the king had dreamed. He said, you saw in your dream an image, a great and mighty image that was terrible to behold. And the image had a great head that was made out of gold. It had a breast and arms that were made out of silver and thighs out of brass. And it was set on legs and feet that were made out of iron. And the feet had iron but also mixed with clay. And then a stone was hurled at the image, a stone that no hand had fashioned. But a stone was hurled at the image and broke the image to pieces and was seen no more. And then the stone that was hewed with no hand became a great mountain and filled up the entire earth. So Daniel said the interpretation said, you, king, you are the head of gold. It represents your kingdom because you are the great ruler of the earth. You got everything and everybody under your control. And the breast of silver and the arms of silver represent the lesser nations. And under them, the brass represents a third order of nations that are lesser in power than you. And then you have under that a fourth layer made of iron, and they represent even the weaker powers. But it's all resting on feet of iron mixed with clay. And that's a weak foundation. And so the stone, when it was hurled, it hit those feet and it broke apart. And then the head and the breast and the thighs also broke apart. And this, O king, is the destruction of your kingdom. You are looking at the destruction of your empire. You are looking at the destruction of your world. You are looking at the destruction of your rulership and authority in the earth. And the stone that was cut out with no hand represents God's people who are being used as a weapon against you. And then they become the ruling power in the earth. And at the beginning, they look small and insignificant, just a stone. But the stone becomes a mountain, and then the mountain fills up the entire earth. And this, O king, is your dream and its interpretation. Well, now the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this is not a vision of something in the past. This is a vision of today. He said, America is the head made of gold. Because at that time in 1968, America was on the gold standard. So her wealth and her power was supreme throughout the earth. And the breast of silver represented England under the British sterling. And they were a secondary power to the first power that was America. And then the other nations. The other European nations were like the brass. Germany and Japan and France and Spain and those other secondary nations. And then the next layer down is the iron nations, the other nations that's pretty strong, but they're not world-class powers. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that all of this weight of a great head of gold, a breast of silver, thighs of brass and legs of iron. This is a great weight that is resting on feet that are a mixture of miry clay and iron. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that iron and clay don't mix very well. They do not form a strong bond. And so you have the entire power of the world, America, England, the European powers, and the lesser powers standing on the poor and the downtrodden of the earth, the black, the brown, the red, the yellow people of the earth, the people of Africa, the people of Mexico, the people of Central and South America, the people of Asia. Downtrodden, oppressed, in some cases even enslaved, and held together, as it were, just by the brute force of power of wicked government. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad pointed out that the foundation of this world is weak and inherently revolutionary. And what you will see in this world is an uprising in Africa, an uprising in the Caribbean, an uprising in Central and South America and Asia. And as the masses of people of the world begin to rise up, then you'll see that heavy head of gold tumbling down, America falling down, Britain falling down, France and Spain and Portugal being cast down. All of the would-be powers of the world cast down, broken into pieces until they are no more. Well, now you can see Daniel's vision on CNN. See, the Holy Quran says, nay, we hurl truth at falsehood until we make truth knock falsehood's brains out. See, that's truth. That's a stone that is cut with no hand. How are you going to cut truth out? With your hand. No, it's a different kind of reality with truth, isn't it? So all that's necessary to bring about the destruction of this world is truth. So God comes in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. He came to North America by himself, but he was full of truth. On September the 21st, 1931, there was a lost found in the audience who heard this great truth teacher. It ignited his mind and his heart and his soul to the point that he stood patiently in line after the lecture was over. And he walked up to Master Farad Muhammad when it was his turn. Not just to give him the greetings, not just to shake his hand, not just to say, way to go, good teaching. But he walked up to him and looked him right in his eye. I know who you are. You're no prophet. Because the people have been calling him a prophet. You're no prophet. You're the one that the world has been waiting for 2,000 years. And when Master Farad Muhammad heard the words of this lost found brother, at that time known as Elijah Pugh, he pulled him close, leaned over and put his hand around Elijah's ear and says, you're right, but who knows it? And he swore him to secrecy, that he was not to let anybody else know that he had discovered the one who was in their midst that was teaching a mighty truth until it was time.